Imagine waiting an entire year for a flower to bloom, only for it to disappear before the next sunrise. Around the world, a handful of extraordinary flowers live this exact life. They arrive without warning, put on a breathtaking display, and vanish almost as quickly as they appeared. No second chances, no encore performances, just one fleeting moment, and then nothing. These are not rare exceptions to how flowers work. They are some of the most extreme strategies in the entire plant kingdom, refined over millions of years, for reasons that sound almost unbelievable once you understand them. Some bloom for only a few hours under moonlight. Some wait years, sometimes a decade, for a single opportunity. And one flower on today's list blooms so rarely that witnessing it has become a lifelong dream for botanists who have spent their entire careers chasing it. Before we begin, welcome if you're new here. This is where we explore the most extraordinary plants on Earth, uncover the science behind how they survive, and reveal the incredible stories that nature has been writing for millions of years. If you enjoy discovering the hidden wonders of the natural world, take a second to hit the like button. That one small click helps this video reach more people who share the same curiosity. And if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss what's next. Every week, we uncover another remarkable story from the plant kingdoms, and I think you'll be amazed by just how extraordinary nature can be. So let's step into the shadows, the deserts, and the quiet ponds where these secrets unfold. Queen of the Night. Botanical name, Rarest grandiflorus. There is a flower so secretive that entire gardening clubs hold midnight vigils just to catch a glimpse of it. The Queen of the Night is a sprawling, almost unremarkable cactus for most of the year, its long, ribbed stems creeping quietly along trees and rocks. But once a year, sometimes only once every few years, it produces a flower unlike anything else in the plant world. The bloom unfurls in pale white petals that radiate outward like a starburst, releasing a perfume so rich and heady that it can fill an entire garden. This cactus is native to the deserts and tropical forests of Mexico, Central America, and parts of the Caribbean, where it often grows unnoticed against tree trunks until that single extraordinary night arrives. Why does it vanish so quickly? The bloom opens after dusk and begins wilting before dawn, lasting only a single night. Scientists believe this narrow window is a survival strategy. Blooming at night avoids the punishing daytime heat of its native habitat, while the overwhelming fragrance is perfectly timed to attract nocturnal moths, the primary pollinators capable of carrying its pollen in that brief window of opportunity. Here's the detail that makes it unforgettable. In many cultures, people genuinely host overnight parties just to witness this single bloom, treating it as a once-in-a-lifetime natural event rather than something to casually stumble upon. Can you grow it? Surprisingly, yes. Gardeners in warm climates, or those who keep it as a houseplant, can coax it into blooming with patience, consistent care, and a bit of luck on the timing. But if you thought waiting for a single night was extraordinary, nature wasn't finished surprising us. Corpse flower. Botanical name, Amorphophallus titanum. Few flowers have built a reputation quite like this one, and almost none of it has anything to do with beauty. The corpse flower produces one of the largest flowering structures on Earth, towering several feet into the air with a deep maroon frilled base that looks almost otherworldly. When it finally opens, it releases an odor often compared to rotting flesh, a smell so powerful it can be detected from significant distances. It grows wild only in the rainforests of Sumatra, Indonesia, where it can spend 7 to 10 years, sometimes longer, storing energy underground before attempting to bloom at all. Why does it vanish so quickly? After all that waiting, the bloom itself lasts only 24 to 48 hours before collapsing. The plant pours nearly all its stored energy into this single explosive event, and once pollination has been attempted, sustaining the structure any longer would be wasteful. The infamous smell exists for a reason, too. It mimics the scent of decaying meat, specifically to lure carrion beetles and flesh flies, insects that normally seek out dead animals and instead become unwitting pollinators. Here's a fact that surprises most people. Because blooms are so unpredictable and so rare in cultivation, botanical gardens around the world have turned each blooming event into a live-streamed spectacle, with thousands of visitors lining up for a single chance to see and smell it in person. Can you grow it? Only with serious dedication. It requires years of stable greenhouse conditions and enormous patience, which is exactly why most people will only ever encounter one in a botanical garden. Caution: the bloom itself is not dangerous to touch, but the overpowering odor can cause genuine discomfort, even nausea, for some visitors standing too close. Nature hasn't finished surprising us yet. The next flower doesn't just bloom briefly, it transforms entirely within that short window. Victoria water lily. Botanical name: Victoria amazonica. Picture a flower that changes color, gender, and temperature, all within 48 hours, and you'll start to understand why botanists consider this one of the strangest blooming cycles in existence. The Victoria water lily produces enormous white flowers that float atop equally massive lily pads, some pads wide enough to support the weight of a small child. The flower itself can stretch close to a foot across, opening for the first time on its first night a soft, almost luminous white. It grows in the slow-moving rivers and lagoons of the Amazon basin in South America, where its giant leaves dominate the water's surface like floating platforms. Why does it vanish so quickly? This flower's transformation is one of the most calculated reproductive strategies in nature. On its first night, the flower opens white and female, generating its own internal heat to attract scarab beetles, then trapping them inside until morning. By the second night, the flower has changed color to a deep pink and switched to its male phase, releasing the beetles, now covered in pollen, to fly off and fertilize another flower elsewhere. After this two-night performance, the flower sinks beneath the water and is gone for good. A genuinely astonishing fact. The flower can raise its internal temperature several degrees above the surrounding air, a rare ability among flowering plants, used purely to make its trapped pollinators more comfortable and more likely to stay put overnight. Can you grow it? Only in large, warm, controlled ponds, which is why it's typically reserved for botanical gardens rather than backyard ponds. But while the Victoria water lily plans its transformation with precision, the next flower on our list does the opposite. It waits for something far less predictable. Sturt's desert pea. Botanical name: Swainsona formosa. In one of the harshest landscapes on Earth, a flower exists that refuses to follow a calendar at all. Sturt's desert pea produces striking crimson-red petals with a glossy black, bulging center, a combination so vivid that it almost looks artificial against the pale, dry earth surrounding it. The plant itself sprawls low along the ground, hugging the soil rather than standing tall. It is native to the arid interior regions of Australia, where rainfall can be scarce, unpredictable, and sometimes absent for years at a stretch. Why does it vanish so quickly? This flower doesn't operate on a fixed seasonal schedule the way most garden plants do. Instead, its seeds can lie dormant in the soil for years, waiting. When a sufficient rainfall finally arrives, the plant germinates, grows rapidly, and rushes to flower and set seed before the brief window of moisture disappears back into the desert. The entire above-ground display can be remarkably short-lived, racing against the inevitable return of drought. A fascinating detail: the seeds have such a tough outer coating that they can remain viable in the soil for remarkably long periods, essentially waiting patiently underground for the one rainfall that finally triggers their moment. Can you grow it? It's notoriously difficult outside its native range, since gardeners struggle to replicate that exact rhythm of drought followed by sudden moisture. Specialized nurseries do offer seeds for enthusiasts willing to attempt it. If a flower waiting years for rain feels remarkable, the next bloom takes a different kind of patience entirely, measured not in years, but in a single day. The daylily. Botanical name: Hemerocalis. Here's a flower whose very name gives away its secret, though most people who grow them never stop to think about what that name actually means. The daylily produces trumpet-shaped blooms in shades ranging from soft yellow to deep orange and rich red, often with delicate ruffled edges that catch the morning light beautifully. It's cultivated and naturalized across much of Asia, Europe, and North America, thriving in gardens, roadside ditches, and open meadows alike. Why does it vanish so quickly? True to its name, each individual flower opens at dawn and withers by the following night, lasting only a single day before closing forever. The reason lies in efficiency rather than scarcity. Rather than investing energy into keeping one flower alive for weeks, the plant instead produces a continuous succession of new blooms throughout the growing season, each one disposable, each one replaced almost immediately by another. The fascinating part is that because of this rapid turnover, a single daylily plant can produce dozens, sometimes hundreds, of individual flowers across a single summer, even though no single bloom ever lasts more than a day. Can you grow it? Absolutely. It's one of the easiest and most rewarding flowers for home gardeners, requiring minimal care while delivering an ever-changing display all season long. But not every short-lived flower relies on beauty to get noticed. The next one on our list takes an entirely different approach. Carrion flower. Botanical name: Stapelia gigantea. This next flower doesn't try to be beautiful at all. Instead, it convinces insects it's already dead. The carrion flower produces large star-shaped blooms covered in fine reddish hairs, with a wrinkled, almost flesh-like texture that mimics decaying skin. It's an unsettling sight up close, and that's entirely intentional. It grows naturally across the dry, rocky regions of southern Africa, often tucked low among other succulents and thorn bushes. Why does it vanish so quickly? The flower opens for only a few days at most, just long enough to release its distinctive odor and attract flies searching for a place to lay their eggs. Once those flies have unknowingly transferred pollen between blooms, the flower's job is complete, and maintaining the display any longer would offer no additional benefit. Like the corpse flower, this is a clear example of mimicry, deceiving pollinators by imitating the smell and appearance of decomposing flesh, rather than rewarding them with nectar. A genuinely surprising fact: flies are sometimes so convinced by the deception that they lay eggs directly on the flower, eggs that will never survive there, making this flower a master of biological trickery. Can you grow it? Yes, and quite easily. It's a popular succulent among collectors who enjoy unusual plants, requiring well-draining soil and minimal watering. Caution. While not toxic to touch, the smell during bloom can be genuinely unpleasant indoors, so most growers keep it outdoors or in a well-ventilated space when flowering. And now, for the final flower on our list, the one that blooms so rarely that seeing it has become something of a quiet obsession among botanists worldwide. Dragon fruit flower. Botanical name, Hylocereus undatus. This is the flower behind one of the most popular fruits on grocery store shelves, yet almost nobody ever sees it actually bloom. The dragon fruit flower is enormous and dramatic, unfurling into a brilliant white starburst of petals that can reach nearly a foot across, surrounded by long, spiky outer segments that look almost like a crown. It grows on a sprawling, vine-like cactus, originally native to Central America, though it's now cultivated widely across Southeast Asia and other tropical regions for its fruit. Why does it vanish so quickly? The flower opens only after sunset and wilts completely by the following morning, lasting a single night, much like its cactus relative, the queen of the night. This nocturnal strategy allows it to attract moths and bats, the pollinators most active during those dark hours, while avoiding competition with daytime flowers and the harsh heat of tropical afternoons. Here's what makes it genuinely unforgettable. Because each flower opens for one night only, farmers who grow dragon fruit commercially often have to hand-pollinate their crops in the middle of the night, racing against sunrise to ensure a successful harvest. Can you grow it? Yes, and many home gardeners in warm climates do, though witnessing the actual bloom requires checking the plant after dark during its narrow flowering season, a small reward for patient growers. 7 flowers. 7 completely different reasons for disappearing almost as quickly as they arrive. Some race against the heat of the desert sun. Some wait years underground for a single rainfall. Some transform entirely within a single night, changing color, temperature, even gender, just to ensure their survival. What strikes me most about these flowers isn't just their rarity. It's the reminder they offer. Some of the most extraordinary things in nature were never meant to last forever. Their fleeting nature isn't a flaw, it's the entire point. A flower that vanishes by morning forces us to actually be present for it, to notice it, to appreciate it before it's gone. Maybe that's the real secret these flowers have been keeping all along. Beauty doesn't need to be permanent to be meaningful. Sometimes it's the briefest moments that leave the deepest impression. They don't bloom to be admired. They don't wait for an audience. For a few brief moments, they transform some of the harshest places on Earth into something breathtaking. And then they disappear. Sometimes for years, sometimes for decades, leaving behind only the promise that one day they'll return. Nature doesn't always reveal its greatest wonders to those who are looking. Sometimes it rewards those who are patient enough to wait. If you enjoyed this journey into one of nature's best-kept secrets, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button. It helps this video reach more people who love discovering the incredible stories hidden in the natural world. And if you want to explore more remarkable plants, surprising adaptations, and the extraordinary ways life survives against all odds, make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a new upload. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep exploring, because nature always has another secret waiting to bloom.